All right, let's get it going, party people. It's Tuesday morning, May 3rd, 2022, and we're going to get started with what we do every morning. So, what I'd like to do is go back to yesterday and just quickly review what we were looking for and what ended up happening. I didn't really call any trades yesterday. I think there was like a call right out of the open, and then maybe one or two others, and then it was quiet because everything was so sideways. So we came into the open yesterday, and the first expected resistance level was going to be 41.37. We had a range there from 37 up to the major eye level at 41.42. And just before the open, we came up and failed right at VWAP and started pulling back. And I gave everybody this level here at 40.2450 as the potential first level to hold for a bounce. And market came down right to it, bounced to the tick off 24.50. So that was kind of the first trade opportunity, literally right as the market was opening, and then bounced up and found the rejection right off 41.37, right off our first expected resistance zone. And then it was just kind of a pretty strong sell off. So let's chug on forward here and see what ended up happening. I started to try to short the market as we were breaking lower, and unfortunately we didn't get any follow through. Then they came back up, called the long here off the 200 moving average. However, it did push through the 200 moving average by about 4 points there. So I got stopped out when I got long there, and that was it, right? So I wasn't able to capture this push back up. Also notice we came right back to 41.37, failed again before that little pullback here, and then came up and continued to try to get through 37 and just could not get through and went ahead and failed back down again. And then finally, as we got out of the morning session there, we got a nice push through. We tested our orange power level and the major eye level there 2 times, pulled back, held 37 and popped out. So pretty nice move there. And then just as quick as we broke out, the market came right back down and failed. So started to get some trending, came up, held the 200 for two beautiful tests there. And then right as it came up, we failed again. And then you can see it rode the back end of our fast moving average and then hit the back end of the 200 here for the push back down at the end of the morning session there. And then it was just basically a garbage sideways action. But the key thing I want to point out here is that the fast moving average, the 200 moving average, and all of our levels that we were watching actually did work out pretty nicely. Again, shorting 37 here multiple times throughout the morning would have given you some pretty appreciable sell-offs. We're not talking 5 or 6 points here. We're talking, holding 37 to the tick and coming all the way down to 41.17 for a 20-point pullback, and it happened multiple times. So there worked out great. And then towards the end of the day, I think we came down and then got a little bit of a bullish breakout again, but still stuck sideways within the daily range. So kind of an ugly morning. And then that's where we find ourselves this morning. We got this bullish push out to end the day yesterday and close back up probably right around where we opened, and then attempted to push higher here in the overnight session. And now we are pulling back, right? And we came down and bounced. Where did we bounce? The 38% retracement of the push up. So if you throw a fib up from the low of yesterday all the way up to the high of the overnight session, we just bounced off the 38%, right? So this is why we're watching these fib levels. And I went ahead and marked the 50 and the 61 with our dash dot line. So get rid of the fib. We have those two there to alert us if the market does come down to test those levels this morning. So let's go ahead. We'll jump up to the daily and just get a zoomed out perspective, and then we'll start getting into all the levels we want to watch this morning. So on the daily yesterday, really nice bullish reversal bar there. Huge wick to the downside, and essentially a doji, basically open and close right at around the same price there. So a little bit of a clue from our daily perspective that maybe we're going to attempt to bounce back out. Now remember, we attempted to bounce back out here and come up. And let me get rid of this other line so we're not confused. If I can actually select it. So we attempted to bounce out here and failed. We attempted to bounce out from there and failed. We attempted to bounce out right there and failed. And we attempted to bounce out here and failed. And then right down here, I mean, technically we bounced off 99.25 here, it came up. And then right here, an attempt to break out and a failure. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 attempts to bounce out and push higher and get a failure. And this morning, here again, a nice potential bullish signal, a nice bullish doji bar on the daily, and this attempt to break out higher right now. Question's going to be, are we going to have the strength to go ahead and actually rip higher, right? So that's where we are here on the daily. A nice potential bullish reversal bar with an argument for a bullish divergence off the low. Not a nice local divergence, but compared to all these previous swings back here, we do have an argument. So that's what we're seeing on the higher time frames. Coming down to our 4-hour here. And I went ahead, and the major retracement leg that we want to pay attention to for this current sell-off is from that last major high we made up at 43.0350. And so we have a leg from there, and from 0350 down to the low we made here yesterday. So yesterday's low, and now we're bouncing out. And so we got through the 38. That was yesterday. Well, that was right around that resistance we had yesterday. And now we're coming right up just in front of the 50% retracement right now, right around 41.79.75. From a larger structure perspective on this 4-hour, we did peak down into the 40.80 level and came down right around 40.50 and bounced out. So we're kind of bounced in the middle of the next structure zone, but essentially held that 40.80 area. We got, and if you notice, the bodies of the candles basically were above that, right? So we had a little peek through into that next structure zone, and then this bounce back out. So if we do end up continuing to sell off this morning, the next major structure zone, if you remember from yesterday, was right around 4,000, and then a little bit deeper than that goes right into 39.40. So let's get into all the levels this morning on our 60-minute chart. Let's first consider if the bulls do start to rip higher this morning and they get through the overnight high, which happens to be 41.76 up here. We've got a couple levels that we're going to want to watch here. So let me see if I can expand this out a little bit so we can see everything and it doesn't look too scrunched together here. So here's the leg from the low of yesterday up to the overnight high that we were just talking about. We've got the 38 retrace here where we just found support just an hour or two ago. And then the 50 and the 61. And then you can see obviously 50% of yesterday sitting here at the magenta line. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to highlight this little pocket from 0850 to 1050 or 1075. That little area to me looks like a good level for support, but here's the thing. We've got all our retracement levels kind of interspersed within here. And so it could be that they use each of these levels. It could be messy. So just keep in mind, those are these levels in this current leg up that I'm kind of focusing on. And I'm not sure what this line is here. Might have just been, just get rid of that. So let me go back down, sorry about that. So those are the little levels that we have on the pullback here. So if the bears are strong and it starts pulling back, We've got the previous daily close down here at 41.46. We've got the major eye level at 41.42. So this as well, I'm going to go ahead and shade in here, would be an area that makes sense for some type of reaction. And then from below there, let me delete this out. From below there, we've got the 38 retrace retest, and then it's down to 50 and 61.8 of the whole push up, with the caveat that we have 41.08 and 50% of the previous day at 41.10.75 or 41.11 sitting in between those two. And once that breaks, I think it's probably a nice clean shot back to 40.80 and back to the low of yesterday. However, and I forgot to mention this when I reviewed yesterday, but we talked about a level sitting here at 40.93. And actually, I'm going to go down to my maybe the 1 minute chart. I want to show you what happened down there at 40.93 and why it might even be a relevant level this morning. So yesterday we said if the market ends up breaking through the overnight low or whatever it was, the low of whatever, something back here, if we end up breaking through that, there's a very good chance we could come down into 40.93 and find some type of support. And what ended up happening was we came down, we bounced right at 93, but there was like no appreciable follow through. And then it was kind of messy here, but we definitely held 93 on many occasions. And then finally, once we broke down below it, we came up and used it as a resistance point. So that 93 level this morning coming in might also, for whatever reason, because it was a good support and resistance from, I don't know, a year ago or whatever when we were looking back there, could still be relevant here. So let me go back up to the 60. And so that 40.93 level you see right there, which I could probably extend out to the 4th, I'm just going to leave it there just as a heads up. If we come back to that area, that was where we came up and got a pretty major rejection yesterday. So that is like a swing high that we want to be aware of. In fact, I could color this blue so we know that it's basically a swing high. And there you have it. So these are all the levels that are below us here within the previous daily price action. I know there's a whole bunch, but that's usually how it goes when we're pulling back into a section of chop. And then if the market does end up selling off below the low of yesterday down at 40.56, we have everything that we talked about on Monday. 40.42, 40.23, right into our 4,000 area. There's a reason I have it at 4,004, but keep in mind with a major level, right? And then a little bit further down, we've got, again, that 39.45 major eye level. Then there's two levels that surround it, 5 points above, 5 points below. So that would be that next major zone. And then a little bit further, 39.14. I don't know if it makes sense to continue going here. If we do sell off, that'll be what? Another 200 points or more to the downside. And so we'll revisit that if we get such a strong sell-off. On the flip side of things now, if the bulls are strong and they start to rip higher and they get through the overnight high, we have to consider what we're pushing up into. And so I told you we want to watch the retracement of the leg down. The major local leg that we're dealing with is this major swing up here from, I believe it was 0350, 430350 down to the major low where we bounced. And I went ahead and marked those retracement levels. You can see right at 4179.75 and right at 4209. So let me delete that out. And those are the two retracement levels you see up above here, those two dash dot lines. So if we push up, we'll be pushing right into 50% of the sell-off. And we also have this major swing low that we've been watching for, I guess, a day since we broke down below there. So that little pocket between 79 and 82.50 will be important for the bulls to get through. And then we do have just kind of a whole bunch of stacked stuff up here. Again, because there's just so much wishy-washiness in that area. So we've got 89, 4,200, and then we're up to the 61.8 retracement at 42.09 into our minor eye level at 42.13. Any further from there, our next major swing that we're watching is up here at 42.35.50, and we've got kind of a whole bunch of stuff in this area, but I do like that 35 to 42.40 pocket. Any further from there, we're right up to our next major eye level at 42.56.50. So that will bring us from where we are now just about 100 points to the upside. And I told you I'm skeptical of any type of bullish breakout because all we see are attempts to break out and then failures. So, hey, we could get, anything is possible. We could get some type of major rally to come up and break through the previous two major highs we've had in the sell-off here and start to make new higher highs. And maybe we'll get some type of attempt to break out. But again, I'm skeptical of it, but it's always a possibility. We can't ignore all the different potential that the market has, right? It could just break out, it could just sell off, it could sit here sideways, and our job is to navigate that as intraday traders. So I think that's basically it for today. Have a great day. To all those watching out on YouTube, we're going to go ahead and jump down to our short time frames here and see what we can get coming into the open. So have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.